Hello there, and if you are planning to do something as crazy, as amazing, as exciting, as rewarding as running or completing your first marathon that's going 26.2 miles at an event, at a racing event of a marathon, then this video is for you. So I just finished my very first one, the Los Angeles Marathon on March 19th, 2023. And in this video, I just want to share some of the takeaways that I have from my experience, not just running the marathon itself, but a lot of the preparation. So in this video, I'm going to aim to talk about a few things is primarily, the experience with it, some of the thoughts in preparation, and I'm going to touch on many areas from the physical preparation to the mental to also just some of the fun things that I learned. So let's just start with some of the fun things that I learned real quick. I mean, just this bib alone, it says so much. What I didn't realize, I've done a few races, but as I started to do these races, I started to learn like there's this huge culture revolving around um, the runners that do marathons. Like these numbers alone allow people and these official racing organizations to track runners as they participate because there's different rewards for runners as they participate in different marathons, Boston marathons, New York marathon, all of these things. There's an entire world, and I'm not going to go too into depth about it because some of the fun comes in discovery of it. But there's an entire world where you track these different runners, and you learn about them, and you could like see their miles and how fast they run. And of course this is also for professional purposes because there can be a lot of money involved in some of these races. So they want to know like who's running the legit miles. I mean, there's like even this whole idea of you can't change bibs with somebody because hypothetically somebody could run a race for you and go faster. I mean, I don't know why people would do that, but whatever it is, there's this entire world involved with marathon running. I mean, even running in general, half marathons, regular races, anything that you're getting a bib to track yourself. So with that said, LA Marathon. Another fun thing that I learned is this one was presented by ASICS, but also there's a huge involvement. There's been for the many years that the LA Marathon has been going on. There was a huge involvement with the McCourt Foundation, and the McCourt Foundation is a organization that helps to lessen the negative impacts that families feel from neurological diseases and whatnot. So, things like Alzheimer's and any sort of like neurological disease that, many families unfortunately face. The McCourt Foundation has dedicated many years since 1992, that's 20 years now, to this idea, or no, 30 years. What am I saying? 1992 to 2002, it's 10 years to 12, yeah, 30 years. Excuse me. So 30 years. So 30 years to helping families deal with or reduce the negative impact of neurological diseases, and those are some of the most like heart-wrenching ones. To have a family member forget who you are, or something like that. It's just terrible. And so that's another interesting thing that I learned about a lot of these marathons is there's usually a huge cause attached. I mean, of course, this one was organized in partnership with the McCourt Foundation, but as you look into them, I mean, as you start to race with the people and run with people and meet people, I mean, people are out there for all sorts of reasons. They're raising money for a cancer charity. They're raising money for better schools and equipment for athletic teams. They're raising money for they're just trying to get kids more physically active, things like that. So there's all sorts of reasons, and I think that's a really important thing to touch on, which can also help you motivate yourself for a race in general, is this idea that of when they say digging deeper, like what does that really mean? What am I digging deeper for? Yes, I have to like reach down and into my like body and like overcome this pain or discomfort. There's part of that, but I think what it really means in digging deeper is really finding something beyond yourself, if you want to accomplish something like running a marathon. And of course, there are people that can run a marathon and it's like so easy for them. They're maybe running, some of the winners are from Kenya this year. And, I imagine that the $10,000 reward money is a lot of money for them back in Kenya. So they're running for maybe their family or for their country or whatever. It's not like the Olympics, but it's definitely something that can help whatever. I mean, I think there are 60 countries that have been represented throughout LA Marathon times. So digging deeper and finding the reasons that you really want to do something like this, and maybe personal achievement is big enough. But as you're doing this race, you really find like, oh, or even the preparation for it, as you're doing the preparation. Because when you're in a race, you basically feel like you have to do it, and you have to finish. But if you're running and you're prepping for the race, there's a lot of days where you're going to be like, oh, I don't really want to do this. What am I doing this for? What's the reason? I'd rather just stay home tonight or this morning, or it's cold out, it's hot out. All of those different reasons not to prep. So with that said, those are the times where you really got to dig deeper. Because once you get to the marathon, I mean, I would say it's fairly easy. The hard part is already past in the sense of disciplining yourself day after day after day in preparation. And I'm not saying the marathon's easy in itself as an individual thing, but the preparation helps you to lessen that impact, and it depends on how well prepared you are. And of course, here's the thing. I've talked about some of the interesting things that I've learned, but in preparation, I mean, here's a few things that I learned is that you can walk the marathon. Yes, there are people that walk the marathon. Probably only a portion of it, because let's say you walk like, I don't know, a 20-minute mile. There's 26 miles. You're gonna, you're looking at 1 hour per 3 miles. So 3, 6. I mean, you're gonna take way too long to do the run. So 3, 6. So 4 hours to walk a little bit less than half. So if you just walk it, you'll finish in about like 9 hours or something. But you probably don't want to do that. You probably want to challenge yourself, at least run a little bit, run part of it. But there is some beauty in that, in realizing that it's possible to walk a marathon. You might not get the medal, and there's only certain there's some marathons you have to qualify for. You can't just walk them. Not all marathons you can walk, but just in general, in that sense, it's possible, because what you can do is you break down the hours or the amount of time that you're gonna walk or run or whatever. Once you can break that down, then it starts to be easy. So say that you jog, right, 15 minutes per mile. Then you really just have to figure out that's about 4 miles per hour. So if you're jogging at 4 miles per hour, then you just calculate that into whatever 26 is. I'm not going to do all the math here, but you get the idea. Is when you can really start to nail down the time and the distance that you need and you want to go, then you can really start to build a routine for yourself to work towards that. It's possible. Like, if you know that you can walk 26 miles, you can just continuously move for 26 miles, 6 to 8 hours straight. Then you can achieve a marathon. You can finish and complete a marathon. So with that said, I mean, that's really the mentality that I personally went in with is, I know that I can move my body. I've gone on hikes for 4 to 6 hours at a time. I might have like stopped somewhere in between, but I know at some level that I can move my body for 4 or 6 hours. It was all a matter of how fast could I move it and for how long I can move it during the actual race itself, where my time is being tracked and all that. So that's one way to really think about it. If you're looking for some prepping tips, I mean, just breaking it down. That's how I happen to think. That's how I happen to how it happened to work for me. And also something to consider is that it really is an investment in yourself. So I would say that when you get into the marathon, when you choose to run the marathon, the first thing, the most simplest thing you could do, if you want to set it as a goal, is just literally just to sign up. Don't procrastinate on it. Don't think, oh, well, I don't know if I'm ready. I might need like 1 year, 2 years, whatever. I mean, I met plenty of people who were like, oh yeah, just like 8 months ago, I decided to do it. Me personally, I mean, I was prepping, I was doing a few 5Ks, I did a couple half marathons, and I was like, wow, this is a possibility. Let me just sign up. And the simple act of signing up can get you closer. It got me closer to completing your or achieving that goal that you've set for yourself. I mean, that is such like a powerful thing. Is if I was to say anything like motivational, or whatever, I would say just sign up. The simple act of signing up is going to help you get into that motivation and out of that fear of failure or whatever it is. Maybe it's discomfort or whatever. I don't know, but to get you out of that discomfort. And of course, always talk to your doctor first. You always speak to your doctor. Let your doctor, go over whatever with you. That's important. But that signing up is such a huge first step, and it could take you so far. And it's just amazing what it can do for you. Just simply signing up and being prepared for your marathon. And with that said, something that was also fun is these events are huge deals. They had like little mini concerts, groups and groups of people. Imagine, I don't know if you've been to Hollywood or Sunset Boulevard or Beverly Hills, Rodeo Drive, any of those places, but imagine the closest city to you that you can imagine, the biggest, closest, most populous city. And imagine, if you haven't been to LA, imagine the most popular roads, the most historically known busy roads that you can think of in that city closed down just so thousands and thousands of people could run through it. There's 22,000 people at this event. So just imagine that in your city, and you could get an idea of how big this event was. So these events are a huge deal. I mean, there's a lot involved. Concerts, television. I mean, it's amazing. Concerts, TV. And with that said, something else that I learned tied to running a marathon is definitely the idea of tracking your goals. When it comes to like physical exercise and the gym, you can so easily start to get lost in different routines unless you're like super, super, super strict on your training routine in the gym, and you like track every single number and every single detail and every single rep that you do, and you do this for years, months and months and months on end. But I think most people who work out in the gym, even the really fit people, they start to stop tracking themselves, not because they get lazy, but because it just starts to become part of them. They don't really need to anymore. But one thing that's great about running that I found as you challenge yourself with these miles is that once you hit one milestone, you start to think, hey, I can go more. I can do more. I can either do this more miles, or I can go faster, or I can go further or faster. I mean, those are really the only two. So you don't need to track too many things. And that's really great if you're the type of person that likes to, just hit goals, because you could just be like, oh, well, what's my next goal? And of course, there's probably a threshold for many people and time and all that, but that is something that is exciting about running if you are into fitness already, and especially marathon prep, because it's such a long distance that you really need to put in the effort to start to prepare for an event. And that is different from other weightlifting, because if you're preparing for or other exercise in general, except like Tough Mudder and things like that, or Spartan races. But if you're doing other things like weightlifting, there's really only so many events you can go to. There's no event that's like, hey, let's all just 20,000 people come here and just like hang out and bench press, right? Or squat. It's more like, oh, there's 10 people participating to see who the strongest person is. So running is a great thing that really is accessible to everyone. And with that said, be prepared to invest in yourself. Invest the time, the resources, your metabolism's gonna go up. So you're gonna want to eat more food. You're probably gonna want to invest in, there's some hardcore runners that have done it in bare feet, but then there's also runners who, want to get the equipment, want to get the shoes, want to get the tracking devices, whatever helps you get going is going to help you get going. And with that said, I mean, one of the favorite things that I also enjoyed about the marathon is, it's an awesome environment. Tons and tons of people who are there really pushing themselves to do something, to achieve something that's going to, at least that they're going to be able to talk about, they're going to be able to enjoy, that's going to definitely transform their body. I think marathon distances and above, maybe even half marathon distances and above, those are definitely things where you can quickly notice that how quickly your body can change in just that amount of time. And when it comes to pain, you might be thinking about pain or wondering about pain. And I just have to say that, it's a different type of pain. It's not the type of pain that you get when you're in the gym and you're going on that like 20th repetition and your trainer's yelling at you and they're like, one more, you can do it, and your muscles are failing, but like your arms are burning and everything. It's not like that type of pain. It's more of like a sore, achy feeling, which can be uncomfortable, and depending on like how fit your body is, how prepared you are, and whatever other situations you have, I would say that it was more of like an achy pain, and I fortunately didn't lose any toenails. I just got one blister, so that was very lucky. And of course, I've lost some toenails already. But with that said, I mean, just be prepared for some aches and pains. Things are going to get uncomfortable. You might get cramps. I got cramps all the way up on the last like 10 miles. I was getting cramps in every single muscle in my leg. So with that said, I mean, those are more of like the aches and pains. They hurt, but you get through it. And with that said, absolutely great environment. I was so amazed. Like there's even a group that of people that are handicapped or going in wheelchairs, and they did an amazing job. I mean, that was just absolutely amazing to me, that there's people who, no matter what's going on in their life, whatever challenges they've faced so far, that they're consistently pushing themselves to even do a full marathon. It's amazing. And I would say that the hardest work was definitely in the prep work itself. Like just running the marathon itself, right? There's certain moments when you're like, can I quit? Maybe this is pretty hard. This hurts. This is uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, there's so many people behind you, and so many people in front of you, and so many people cheering you on, depending on which marathon you're running. I mean, you might be running one in a small town and there's really not that many people, or maybe there is, but whatever the situation is for you, there's just so much going on that you really can't stop. Like if you have to walk, you walk. If you have to jog, you jog. If you have to crawl, you probably crawl. And some people just stop and take a seat on the sidewalk and wait. And I don't know if they complete it or whether they continue, but you basically, by that time, you're gonna complete it, pretty much. And there's plenty of medics on staff as well. So with that said, sign up. Those are some of the wrap-up words here. Is sign up for your marathon. Go prepare. Go do it. It is awesome. It's exciting. It feels good afterwards, and it is definitely an achievement that feels worthwhile, especially with all the time that you're probably gonna put in ahead of time and all that. So with that said, awesome experience with my very first marathon, Los Angeles Marathon. And with that, definitely plan to do more. And for you, I wish you the best. I wish you success, and hope that this video has helped you to want to do a marathon as well.